We also want to
Fantastic.
make sure that nobody's voice is too low or too high, and I've noticed that that's been happening. So let me know if I sound really loud and they sound really low, or the vice versa. So we'll have that. I'm just gonna have Jamil introduce himself because he has not done that yet. We all know Dorlin. Dorlin can say a little
Perfect.
something at the end, but then just let us know how we're sounding as we're doing this. Appreciate y'all.
All right. Thanks, Africa. Hello, everyone. I'm Jamil. I am in Canada, specifically in Nova Scotia. Um, and I'm a full stack developer slash founder of Signal Technologies. I have started taking an interest in accessibility when I really jumped into web development and started noticing a lot of the barriers that are currently, you know, um, present in the way that we access the web. And so I want to try and spread the word on that and educate myself and educate those around me and hopefully try and make an impact as best as I can.
Awesome, thank you. All right, Dorlin, what are you gonna say this time? I feel like every time you should say something different. I don't know.
I feel like I'm just going to be to the point this time. I'm Dorlin. I work in 508 compliance for web accessibility. I'm blind. I'm an assistive technology user. I love Braille. And I have a guide dog named Tank who is taking a nap right now. But he has a new toy, so he might wake up and entertain us later.
I love it. All right, I can see some feedback on my end, so I'm gonna plug my headphones in for now. And I just want to make sure I can actually hear y'all. Can y'all speak for me a little?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Everyone can hear me still? I think so, right? All right. These goofy green Dorlin, I'm wearing the goofiest green headphones you've ever seen in your life. They're literally lime green and huge. They're not mine, but they'll work for today. All right.
Amazing.
Let's get started. So today we're going to be learning all about universal design. Hulda Decode said, they look cool. Thank you, Hulda, for making me feel better about these. Haxel said, really cool dog name. Howdy, Haxel. And I'm going to share my screen so that everyone can see what we're doing. I think that is the wrong screen. And this is also the wrong screen. All right, y'all, I'm going to have to change the source on this so you don't see all this. Oh no, I just lost my display because I moved it all the way off. Darn.
I'm going to take this moment to quickly tweet. Be like,
okay, sorry y'all, I messed my thing up. It's gonna take me like 30 seconds. It's fine. It's one of those days.
That it is.
one thing about that is that bad days always end.
True that.
It's a bad day. It's a day. Just got a lot going on with it for no reason.
Also, for some context, me and Dorlin come here right after work. It is like my brain is just like very sluggish after work, after staring at stuff all day. Oh, how do I? All right.
Wait.
What's going on?
You two are on the West Coast, right?
No, we're on the East Coast.
Oh, makes more sense.
Yep. It is 4 p.m. over here. I've been working since 7. All right. There's reverb. I wonder why. Let's see. Oh, it's because this also has, I just need to turn this off. All right, let me know if that's better. Can you guys speak a little?
Test. Test, test, test.
Oh, hello, hello.
Yes. Plants in Pajamas said, yay for Saga. Yes, Saga is so good. So underrated. All right. Fine again. Perfect. Whew.
Fantastic.
Thank y'all for the 10-minute troubleshooting thing that happens on all of our streams. We sincerely appreciate your patience. And now I don't feel so much anxiety when it happens. So that's good. All right. So today we're learning all about accessibility and universal design. I like this topic a lot because it kind of teaches us what to look for and what we're really trying to make more accessible. And I think it's also interesting because it talks about accommodations, the difference between accommodations and accessibility itself. So that's kind of what we're going to be learning. Right now, I have a photo on the screen. And for anyone who's new here, I always explain everything in great detail if there's a photo so that Dorlin and whoever cannot see the screen knows what's on the screen. So that's why I get a little verbose. All right, so for this picture, I chose this picture because I like the illustration that it provides in showing the difference between accessibility, equality, and accommodation. So on this photo, there's 3 people. There's a man who's very tall. There's a woman who's a little shorter, and there's someone in a wheelchair, and they're all at a whiteboard drawing on the whiteboard. Okay. So when you look at equality, so there's one part that says equality and it shows them all at the same level. But the person in the wheelchair cannot reach the board. The woman can't reach as high, but the man is reaching up and reaching the board pretty well. Kind of showing that equality just means we meet you where you're at and we provide nothing. So a lot of times equality means we're giving everyone the same thing, but we're not really providing anything that will be helpful for those who don't have like full resources, right? At the top, it says accessibility, and it shows all of them. Probably for some reason in this one, the woman and the person in the wheelchair is in color, but in the equality one, they were in gray. So in this one, they're all in color, and they're all reaching for the board in some way, which is good. They all have what they need in order to kind of access the whiteboard. When we look at accommodation is the third part that it shows all 3 of them. Accommodation shows the man still standing and reaching because he could always reach. It shows the woman standing on a step ladder. Now she can actually reach where the man's reaching, right? And then for the person in the wheelchair, they're even higher up with a ramp showing that they can reach the same height as well. So that kind of, I think, does a really good job explaining those 3 things. Did anyone have anything to add about that? Or any comments in the chat and up here with me?
I was going to ask in the second panel under accessibility, how exactly are the woman and the person in the wheelchair accessing it?
I think in the first picture, which I didn't really explain well, they don't even have anything to write with.
Oh, okay.
I think the accessibility feature here is that they have made the way that the board is working, accessibility is on the top, and then you have equality and accommodation, like almost in a triangle format. So 1 on the top and 2 on the bottom, but the board is about half as high or half as
I didn't even notice that.
High on the bottom of the picture. On the top where accessibility is, instead of giving the wheelchair user a ramp to lift them up to reach the board height, they have then decreased the board or increased the board's overall height so that the person in the wheelchair can comfortably just reach over and start writing at their own height.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yes.
Thank you for filling in.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I didn't even notice that the board was actually longer here. Like that is a really good example of like I was looking at it and I was like, well, I guess the accommodation is that they gave them pencils or like markers. I was like, but I don't get that. All right, I have another picture that kind of shows it as well. But yeah, they're pretty much accommodated by making this longer for them to actually get to.
Yes.
All right. So the other picture that I like to show, you know what, Jamil, you explain this one. So this is individual accommodations versus universal design. That's what we're going to talk about next. Jamil, what's on the screen for this picture? What is it depicting?
Okay, so we have 3 pictures side by side with 3, what seems to be 2 young people and 1 adult. And from the left-hand side to the right-hand side, they're all watching a baseball game happen. But in the first 2 panels, they're all supposed to be representing the same situation. And in the first 2 panels, you have a barrier that blocks the vision to the baseball game, and each person, no matter their height, gets 1 box to stand on. So the adult and the older looking kid can see the game, but the young, let's say infant or young child, cannot. They are still not tall enough to look over the barrier. In the next panel, all 3 people can view the game, but the adult is standing on the ground, the older kid is standing on 1 box, and the younger kid is standing on 2 boxes, and they now have full access to the game. However, finally, on the last panel, we have no boxes, and all 3 people are still on the ground. However, instead of a barrier into that is opaque, that you can't see through to the game, they now have a fence that is completely clear, and all 3 people can just see the game from where they're standing.
Very cool. Well done.
Yes. Alt text is hard sometimes.
Yeah, especially on the fly like you guys are doing.
I like this one a lot because it's super clear to me what the difference is. And I think the difference between accommodation and actual accessibility really is that, one, we're giving somebody something that they only use for their disability versus just creating something from scratch that everyone can use regardless of what they can and can't do. So that's the takeaway here in general, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to dive a little bit deeper on those principles and try to figure out what the CPACC wants us to know about all of this. I'm going to read some comments really fast before we talk. Hulda Decode said accommodation equals equity. 3 equal signs. Does that mean exactly equals? Someone remind me.
Equal in type and value.
Yes. She also said, are these representations of equality, equity, justice? I've seen these images depicted in social justice presentations as well. I guess so. Equality, equity, justice. I don't know if it would be exactly equity and justice. And if it is, which one would be equity and justice in this depiction? That's a really good question, I think. But it does kind of speak on the same thing. So equity would be in the middle, and then justice would be. That makes sense, right? Kind of. Justice is that everyone gets to use everything.
I've seen this panel quite a few times on the internet, or like this picture specifically, but only the first 2 panels. It's this is the first time I actually see the clear fence, like the chain link fence. Sorry, in this picture, and I sort of like that one the most.
Right. Whenever I've seen it as well, it's been the 2 ones. When I saw the fence, I was like, hey, okay, I get what y'all trying to do. That's really good. All right. So to be answered, this is what we're trying to answer today and next week. I don't know how far we're going to get today. We'll see. To be answered, we're going to be able to name the 7 principles of universal design. We should be able to describe the goals and benefits of using universal design. We should also understand the relationship between accessibility, usability, and universal design. We should also know the difference between universal design and accommodations. right? So we kind of got the difference, I think, between universal design, designing things for everyone versus accommodating people for what they need. All right, so this is a bunch of text. I'll read a little bit of it. It says individual accommodations versus universal design. So this is directly from the body of knowledge, so we can kind of unpack this if we want to, but I decided to put it up here because we all know that this is what we're here for. According to Ireland's National Disability Authority Center for Excellence in Universal Design, universal design is the design and composition of an environment so that it can be accessed, understood, and used to the greatest extent possible by all people, regardless of their age, size, ability, or disability. Okay, kind of what we talked about. An environment or any building, product, or service in that environment should be designed to meet the needs of all people who wish to use it. This is not a special requirement for the benefit of only a minority of the population. It's a fundamental condition of good design. If an environment is accessible, usable, convenient, and a pleasure to use, everyone benefits. By considering the diverse needs and abilities of all throughout the design process, universal design creates products, services, and environments that meet people's needs. Simply put, universal design is good design. I think that does a really good job of succinctly putting it together. But we're going to do an exercise together. We're going to talk about individual accommodations versus universal design before we really get into the meat, just to see if everyone is kind of getting on the same page. So we're going to list some things that you think are individual accommodations and some things you think are universal designs. And this could be in the real world environment or on the web. And we're going to talk about all those things as well today. So who wants to go first? So chat, please. Individual accommodations, universal design, let me have it. We're going to add it up here and talk about it. Jamil and Dorlin. I'll start with Dorlin this time. What do you have for individual accommodations that you can think of?
Gosh, okay, individual accommodations. Well, it's funny because I mean, as a person with a disability, I've definitely requested reasonable accommodations, things that I need in order to be able to do my job, such as access to a screen reader, to have that downloaded on my work computer. I think Braille, I guess, has been Braille display is an accommodation in some workplaces, and hopefully in ours soon. I guess I'm thinking of all little assistive technology type things.
Right.
All mine fall under.
Right. Yeah, these are little assistive technology things. Another accommodation could be just really any specialized equipment or having extra time to do something, having extra time off, extra time to do things. And then Jamil, you got any for us?
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and steal right from before, like the past two slides with the pictures where there was indication of like individual accommodation in a sense where some of the boxes were allocated to specific individuals who needed like more height to see over an opaque fence, or more height to reach to a whiteboard that is high off the ground. So individual accommodations, it's being like I guess it's just like designing something. I'm just gonna say it's really hard when assistive technologies does cover a lot of it.
Yeah. So
I'm also.
Go ahead, Dorlin.
Well, I was also thinking of something like for a presentation, if someone needs to request an accommodation like captioning or sign language, something like that, as opposed to you just having that part of the presentation already for everybody there, no matter, not knowing who's in your audience, but you're still going to have captioning going on. You're still going to have that ASL. I feel like there's kind of that difference.
Wait, are you saying captioning sign language is an individual accommodation or universal design?
I'm saying it can be both.
True.
I'm saying if you are requiring people to request accommodations, I see so many emails say to request accommodations, email us, but you could also, there are, times when there's just going to be sign language included or captioning included automatically. They don't, no one has to request it.
Right.
Yeah. I'm thinking about things that I've done for like patients and for myself that could be under accommodations, and some of the things I'm thinking about, I lost my train of thought, so I'll come back to it. But the close her said transcripts furnished upon request versus live captioning, and transcripts available from the start. Yeah, so those, I think that's kind of cool to put because we'll have two examples. So transcripts upon request, and universal design would just be transcripts already available from the start,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Individual personal assistive listening devices. Yep. The other one I was thinking was getting things in written form that are verbally said to you, things in written form, and instead of having it already, right? Because that is an option. Like if you're going to give somebody verbal directions, if you also already have it written already, that could be universal design and thinking versus having to accommodate somebody with that. Would stair lifts be an accommodation? Stair lifts are pretty much an accommodation. Something like a ramp that everyone could use would be universal design, though. All right, let's switch over to universal design. So universal design kind of just means it was built in already, and ramps are a good example. So ramps and curbs, what do we call those again? We were just talking about it. Curbs.
Curbs.
Curb cuts.
Curb cuts.
Curb cuts. Yes, there we go.
Ramp.
I'm gonna get it one day.
Yes, you will. And I'm here to remind you until then. I love my curb
I appreciate
cut.
that. I appreciate that,
Yeah,
Nolan.
Alda
I
also told me.
now see them, and not only that, we're also going to be talking about, like, I want to add, they've, curb cuts were the first step, and then they improved on curb cuts by adding the different what's it called, texture to the curb right before it gets cut.
Yeah,
So
like the
people
truncated domes.
Yes, with truncated domes, or sometimes it's like a bumpy, like little, it's just something different, and like it feels different and it's consistent, so people know that they're coming up to the edge of the block.
Yeah, and actually those things have changed too, because I said truncated domes, which are the little pimply bump things that you come across, but those can be hard on wheelchairs and other sorts of wheels, and so now they're putting kind of like almost slits into the concrete, so I'm still able to get that tactile information with a cane, but it's not going to mess with someone else with a different kind of mobility device.
Yeah.
Hold the Decode said in NYC we know them as pedestrian ramps to tactile guideways. Okay, cool.
And what's funny too is depending on what year things were redone and what the building codes were at the time, you can come across intersections where you have 4 different types of curb cuts at the different curbs. It's funny.
It's interesting. Anyone else have in the chat? If you're with us, let us know something that you think is universal design. Holda said yes. Oh my God, I used to work in transportation policy. This resonates so much. Yeah, it's really interesting. Kathy Code said AI speech assistants like Alexa. Yes.
True. Zooming in and out.
Zooming
like a
in
zoom
and
feature.
out.
Yeah.
I added things that are easy to find and well organized within a web page. So that's universal design in that like everyone benefits from a web page that's not jumbled and hard to find things. Um, Creating code that works for everyone, including screen readers and assistive
Yeah.
technology, right? So that's not really an accommodation if it's just good code. Um, Plants and Pajamas said easy ways to change computer contrast.
Yeah. Light mode versus dark mode, actually.
Mm-hmm. Light mode versus dark mode. And what I'll do with this PowerPoint for everyone is I'll just probably put it in the Discord so you all can have it. All right, we're going to move
Nice.
on. Individual accommodations versus universal design. Which of the following is an example of universal design of instruction that benefits all students and might eliminate or reduce the need for accommodations for students with a disability? Okay, so we're going to choose a response from these 5. So one would be selecting fieldwork sites that are wheelchair accessible. 2 would be providing a note taker. 3 would be making your class notes and outline available electronically. 4 would be a flexible attendance policy. 5 would be requesting open captioned videos. So right now we're looking for universal design, not accommodations. So something that would reduce the need to accommodate for people. Which numbers do you think do that? I'll say them one more time. Selecting fieldwork sites that are wheelchair accessible. Let's just start with that one. Hulda Decode said 1, 3, and 4. Guess we'll see. What do we think about number 1? Selecting fieldwork sites that are wheelchair accessible.
That seems like I agree with Holda on that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm in agreement too.
I'd say so. The Closed Her said yes. I think that is also a universal design because everyone can use whatever the wheelchair uses, and now the wheelchair can use everything else as well. All right, number 2 would be providing a note taker. Is that an accommodation or is that universal design?
I would say that's an accommodation.
Right, because that's something you're giving one person who needs it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Versus maybe giving everyone the notes. Number 3 would be making your class notes and outline available electronically, right? So
there it is.
the right thing to do, so that everyone can access it and it's not just a printout. Number 4, a flexible attendance policy. What do we think about that?
I think that's universal design.
Universal design.
You know, this one I'm not too sure. I feel like a flexible attendance policy may be for, you know.
No, because it accommodates so much that you can't know about, you know? I think that if you've got, I don't know, I think that this one's universal design because you've got like people with chronic conditions who might have really good days most days and then some days don't, and having a flexible attendance policy is going to benefit them. And, someone who, I don't know, it benefits someone who like lost their glasses that day or broke their foot last week or,
Yeah.
I think this one
I'm
falls
sold.
in.
Okay.
Cool.
The Close Her said, I agree that it's universal. When I read it, I was reading it as like doing that for one person. But
Right.
yeah, it's universal if everyone gets the flexible attendance policy, and that will accommodate many. 5 is requesting open caption videos. We think that's an accommodation or universal design?
I mean, that sounds, because the requesting, it's throwing me off, but having open captioning, I do feel is generally universal design.
It's
I think it's universal too, but an individual's request. Because the way that I sort of like think about it, like if I was to say individual accommodation versus universal design, my mind would jump straight to like, let's say glasses, right? Like, no, that actually blurs the lines even more because it's like, it might be designed for one person. That's an individual accommodation, but like, I mean, glasses, everybody can benefit from glasses, but everybody, yeah.
Well, I think with open captioning, you're going to benefit anyone um, who is, oh gosh, now going back to disability etiquette, I don't want to use the word impairment, but anyone
Right.
who's deaf or has a hearing impairment, I'll use it. It's going to benefit them. It's also going to benefit someone who has, I guess, an earache that day, or
Mm,
who is, I can't remember what our scenario is here. I mean, we're out in the field where whatever, so open captioning is odd. But, if you're in a setting where you need to be quiet, having the captioning allows you to have your sound off, like, I don't know. I think
yeah.
of like captioning benefiting everyone when I think of like roommates who are trying to watch stuff and other roommates are asleep. So
Right.
open captioning falls in it for me.
Yes.
How's
So
the crowd feel about it?
requesting the open caption videos would probably be the accommodation. But just
Yeah.
having them available for everyone would be universal. The close her said one does not have to plead their case for a flexible attendance policy is just available. Kathy Code said accommodation since you have to request it. Hold a code agreed with that. Um, yeah, I think we're all on the same page and
Okay.
we're
Yeah,
getting it.
that request word.
All right, I think we all kind of understand the difference between individual accommodations and universal design. So we're going to get into the nitty gritty of universal design itself because we know all about accommodations. We learned that in week 1 and 2. So in this week, we're going to learn about the 7 principles of universal design. We're going to get knee deep in
Mm,
it. All right, so here are the 7 principles. The first is equitable use. The second is flexibility in use. Third is simple and intuitive use. Then perceptible information. Tolerance of error is the next one. The sixth one is low physical effort. And the last, seventh, is size and space for approach and use. All right. So I have a little graphic here, and Jamil, unfortunately, is going to be the one who does all of our alt text for this stream.
I like it. Okay, we're good. Um, all of our alt text. So let me see. Example. Okay. What we have on the screen right now is we have a picture with 7 different panels essentially, and I'll start working on them from left to right. The first one, so they all have a header, and then 2 points and a picture that goes alongside them. So from left to right, we're taking a look at equitable use. It says that there's a bullet point that says useful and marketable to people of all abilities. And the example that they give is automatic doors. And the picture represents automatic doors in a sense where you have someone standing in front of a door and they have a sensor and a circle around them, basically saying that the door senses them and it opens as they approach. The next panel is titled Flexibility in Use, and it accommodates a wide range of preferences and abilities. For example, an adjustable chair. Okay. And then we have the icon of an office chair with 2 handles. Third panel is simple and intuitive use. So it says it's easy to understand, regardless of the language and the knowledge, experience, or concentration level. So the example that they give is universal symbols. And the icon here is we have a square, and then we have the picture of 2 people. They seem to be the same person. And on the left-hand side is the person. On the right-hand side, the first person has a no, and then the second person has a yes next to him. And the main difference between these 2 peoples are one of them is wearing a safety mask. And underneath the square, it says no mask, no entry. So it's to depict that people essentially you can enter if you're wearing a mask, or you cannot enter if you're not. So simple and intuitive. Uh, Perceptible information, so clearly communicates regardless of sensory abilities or ambient conditions. And the example that they give is, so the example is the second bullet point. I should explain. But the example that they give is the train station platform. And then the icon is a person standing in what seems to be like an underground like railroad, where right before you enter the train there is the I can't get the word out of my mouth today, but it's like the floor that is like bumpy before you step onto the train to tell you that you're getting close to the edge.
The truncated domes.
There you go. Yes, the truncated domes. So
Today's buzzword.
It is today's buzzword.
Term.
So cut, curves, and truncated domes. I have a lot to learn. So panel number 5 is tolerance for error. And the first bullet point, it says the aim is to minimize hazards and consequences from accident or misuse. And for their example, they give a car auto unlocks when a driver exits, but the key remains inside. And their icon is a car and someone is bent over frantically because they have like little lines like basically coming out of the head into like the air, just indicating that the car has locked and that they're stuck outside now trying to like open the door, and it's just not happening. Panel number 6 is low physical effort. The first point that says it's effectively and easily used with minimum effort. And the example that they give is a ramp to a building. And for their icon, they have a little ramp and just a wheelchair on the ramp, basically in a horizontal, not a horizontal, but an angled fashion, indicating that it's just like it's going upwards. And finally, panel number 7, we have size and space for approaching use. And their point says here, appropriate size and space is provided for approach, reach, manipulate, and use for all body sizes, postures, or mobility. And the example that they have here is a multi-level service desk or automatic sinks. And the icon has 3 figures of basically people. One person is on the other side of and a table between these 3 figures. So 2 people are on the side facing us, and 1 person is on the other side with a bubble coming out of them, indicating that they are having a conversation across what seems to be either a desk or a table or an object between them. And those are our 7 points.
Cool.
That was excellent. That was really great. Thank you so much.
Fantastic.
All right, let's get into it. I'm going to read a little bit of the text, the chat. Kathy Code said the icons are important here too in case you don't know yes and no. Excellent point. Not everyone can read. Not everyone can read English or whatever language is on the screen, right? So icons with like X's and check marks are always super helpful. Hulda Decode said, aka warning domes. I was thinking about warning domes. Well, I didn't know that's what they were called, first of all. But I was thinking about something that I noticed. I didn't grow up with the metro, but I live in Washington, D.C. now, and there's a fabulous metro, and it's beautiful. One of the things in the metro that I found so cool was, and this is probably universal everywhere, and I just don't know, but like whenever the train is coming, there's like these little bulbs on the bottom and they flash. And when I first saw it, I was like, why is this flashing? Like, who does this benefit? And I was like, oh, it benefits people who can't hear the train coming. And I was like, this is so cool. But anyways, that's one of the things that I was thinking about. Kiko said, greetings everyone. Hulda D said, this is helpful. This is a very helpful graphic. I need to print it out. Google accessible design. What did I Google? Accessible, I don't know, whatever we're talking about right now. Google that word. Universal design.
The 7 principles of universal design.
Yes. Google that and it'll come up. All right, let's move on. We're going to talk about each of these 7 principles and how it relates specifically to web development. All right, we're going to talk first about principle 1. Principle 1 is equitable use. Okay, so there are 4 principles for equitable use. And the first one is that we provide the same means of use for all users. Identical whenever possible, equivalent when not. I think that's super important, and that picture we just saw before in the beginning shows that really well. The next one is avoid segregating or stigmatizing any users. And you kind of stigmatize and segregate them when you're giving them something completely different. And y'all know how it is. Sometimes when you get a little extra, people get mad. So it's nice to avoid that when possible. The third one is make provisions for privacy, security, and safety equally available to all users. A good example of that would be for people who maybe have to do different things. If everyone has access to privacy versus making a big deal about giving someone privacy, that's always better. Make the design appealing to all users. That's an interesting one. What do you guys think about that last one?
Um,
I don't know. I mean, I feel like the one before had definitely got me thinking, and this one just seems like, yeah, you want your stuff to appeal to everyone, right?
yeah, I think it's a good goal to strive for. I don't know if it's in a realistic target.
Right. When I
I
was,
yeah.
go ahead, Jamil.
Sorry, I think about accessibility in a sense where it's like it's a continuous effort, because almost like testing, if people are familiar with testing, things usually are not like picked up while you are designing or while you are conversing about what steps you might take towards better accessibility. And it's a thing of, unfortunately, sometimes people still do get left out of accessible designs, and it is at that point where you take a moment to revisit the design and try to redesign it in a way that then includes like a wider audience.
Right. Yeah, it's an
Yeah.
interesting one to add in that it's hard to know what's appealing for all. But what I'm thinking about is sometimes when you make things accessible, um, it changes the way it looks. And a lot of people don't like that. And I think trying to make that appealing, that's what I thought of myself for some reason. But it's interesting. All right, I'm going to give you guys some good examples and bad examples of how to use this like for the web, because that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah.
All right, so here's a good example of equitable use. A website that uses semantic markup in all appropriate places. Oh my goodness, it's like my favorite thing. Headings, landmarks, Dorlin,
Buttons.
table structure, form labels. These are all things that are very, I'm not going to say easy to implement, but they're not harder than anything else that you have to do to make a web page. But they're often left out. And create a single design that works well for users who are sighted as well as for users who are blind or low vision.
Do not send me to another site. Do not ask me to click on this for accessibility. I will leave your site.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
It's not that bit like not being stigmatized or whatever it is. I love this universal design thing we're talking about.
Yeah, actually that was a great point. Hulda said, ugh, separate but equal idea. Yeah. So to your point, bad example is exactly what you said. Separate website for people using assistive tech. And this is like when I see it, oh, my whole body just seizes up violently and just like I just hate that. I hate that. Yeah, having a separate website for people who use assistive technology is actually like wild. Plants and Pajamas said, boo to overlays too. Can I tell y'all something about overlays? I've like lightly talked about the subject, but I learned more just like from working and like talking to people in the field. But these overlay companies are creating overlays that cover your whole. It's like a line of code that they promise will make your website accessible. What they're doing now is they're creating code that tricks accessibility checkers into showing zero defects, not changing anything. It just tricks the automated tool checkers, which should be illegal. I don't know, but like, right. I was just like, so you're making something that is a malignant to people who need to use things and then making companies pay for it and then lying to them. I don't know. I think more
Right.
of us should be talking about this. Just saying.
Yeah, they are bad actors, if you
It's
ask me.
horrible.
Yeah, I
All of
mean,
them.
I'm honestly still shook that this is happening, and I can't believe that like people aren't like maybe they just don't know. Like it's not a well-known thing, but I'm like, can we get the pitchforks out or like what's happening?
For real.
But also, I'm not naming any names because I heard they're out here suing people who name them and defame them. So, not gonna name any names, but if you know of any companies that do that, think twice. All right, so
Oh
we
my
got
god.
some
Oh, that
comments.
makes me so angry.
Yeah,
All right.
it's not even like that I'm amused or entertained because I laugh at a lot of things, but I'm actually disgusted. Like that's how I
It is very
feel.
disgusting.
I'm disgusted.
I've
It's
heard
like
an interview with one of the CEOs of one of those overlay companies, and it is just disgusting. It just, all of it just feels wrong. I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Jamil.
oh no, like that's completely fine. I was just gonna say it's like you're putting aside what people actually need in pursuit of money, and that's just like
That's it exactly. That's it
yeah,
exactly. It is
yeah,
exploiting an actual problem for profit instead
yeah,
of helping the community that is hurt by the problem.
literally.
I think I'm having trouble with the cognitive dissonance. I don't even know if it's cognitive dissonance or if it's like just people being wild. Well, I assume it's people being wild because they're literally making things that trick something. But like the
Mm.
irony, I don't know if that's the right word, but like of them being a company that wants to make things accessible for people, like it's all
It's a
right.
company that wants to make money.
I
Yeah,
guess so. That's what it is, right? And I'm gonna stop talking
true.
about it because I almost said the name, and I don't want to get in trouble. So I'm gonna read some of
Right.
these comments, and one day we're
On
gonna
to the
get on
next one.
here and roast them so hard. But that's after
Right.
I do my due diligence, y'all. All right.
When we can defend ourselves properly.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, oh, right now I'm not prepared. Um, Holy D Code said, what? Question mark, question mark. Yeah, yeah. Kathy Code said, that's terrible. The close horse, absolutely deplorable. Plants of Pajama said, I almost got suckered into working for one before learning more about how to actually do accessibility correctly. Yeah, AKA, you literally can't do accessibility without manual testing, which we'll talk at nauseum about as we get further
Yeah.
into this. Hulda said, huge scam. Um,
They're
Plants of
scamming a lot of
Pajamas. What'd you say?
they're scamming a lot of small businesses too, that and just
Yes.
businesses in general that are trying to do the right thing and think that
Right.
they are by doing this. And it's such a bummer because then those businesses are like, "Wait, what? It's not accessible even now that
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
paying this X amount per month?"
It's the monthly thing that
Oh, it's all of it.
it's
But
wild.
yeah.
Um, okay, wait. Plants of Pajamas said, yeah, as a sales rep. So I'm guessing she almost or they got
Oh.
suckered into working one as a sales rep, and then they said, but their website dot dot dot. Guess
Oh.
what? What do you think? Their website wasn't accessible. So
Oh
huge red flag.
no.
That's okay then. Holda said 100% for profit. Gross. All
It's
right,
horrible.
we're gonna move on. The last bad example is a number for those with disabilities that they can call for help instead of just making the website usable. Boo, we hate that. All right, let's move on to principle 2, and then we're gonna take a break. I guess I'm here for another however much longer, maybe another hour if that. But actually, let's take a break now. Take a 3 minute ish break to just stand up, stretch, do what you got to do, and then let's come back and be merry. I'll see y'all in about 3 to 4 minutes. Okay.
All right.
Sounds
All
good.
right. I'm putting up
Cool.
the BRB screen and giving y'all some jams. Hello, friends.
Hello.
I'm back with some snacks. Sorry, I'm a little hungry. You might see me chewing a little.
I had my snacks when I on break. We need snacks. We need more snackage in our life.
Yeah, I got some vegan chocolate candy crunch. My fave.
Ooh.
I gotta have it. Sorry.
I
Okay.
had I had dark chocolate covered mangoes.
I have
What?
never had a chocolate covered mango.
Mm.
Are they good?
Let me
I
tell
mean, they
you.
must be good.
Let me tell you. It's yeah. I'm weak. I'm weak in the knees. Okay.
I'm like trying to like envision what that would taste like. Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so our goal for the rest of our time here is to get through all the principles. I think we can do it.
hmm
Hold the Decode asks, Africa, what are the tunes you played during the break? It's so soothing. Tried shazamming it with no luck. No luck because my friend made that beat for me for my yoga videos that I used to do on YouTube. And that was my theme song. And now I just use it for
Dang.
everything.
The
And
exclusive club.
yeah, he did a great job, you know? I should be like, here's his SoundCloud, but I don't really know it anymore. I don't know if he has one, but he made me that really great beat and I love it so much. That's my little theme song. Okay. So yes, our goal right now is just to get through the principles. We're on number 2. There are 7. We're just going to read the guidelines and then read the good examples and bad examples, talk about it a little bit. And then from there, we'll see what the time is looking like. I'm only going to go for maybe about 50 more minutes. We're not going to do Anki today, just don't have the time for it. But next week, we'll finish up this this particular part and do a little Anki, I think. And then the week after that, we're going to follow up with just the laws and be good and done. All right, let's do this. Principle 2 is flexibility in use. So we have 4 principles, and they are provide choice and methods of use, accommodate right or left-handed access and use, facilitate the user's accuracy and precision, and then last we have provide adaptability to user's pace. Any thoughts?
Well, those last 2 definitely made me think of like, being out in the world, like with ATMs and other touchscreens you might come across, and then giving you an accurate amount of time to complete your transactions, those sorts of things.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the examples. So a good web example is a JavaScript drag and drop widget that's designed to work with any of the following: a mouse, a touchscreen, or a keyboard. This is huge because many people do not use a mouse, right? And some
Yep.
people are on touchscreen and don't have a keyboard or a mouse to use. The second good example is a bank website warns the user 2 minutes before the session is about to expire and gives the user the option of extending the session. The warning itself is fully accessible to keyboard and screen reader users and is easy to respond to quickly. Good examples. I actually would like to hear from the chat or one of my co-streamers another good example of flexibility in use.
I think something where we talked about the other week about having a touch target that's large enough for people to be able to click on. I think that one falls under this.
I think so.
I think something as easily as mobile use or a mobile design.
Mm-hmm.
Mobile design. Heck yeah. Acid Reaper. Ace Reaper said, oh, first time in chat. Hey, Ace. Drop down menu, accessible on mouse, but not on touchscreen. That would probably be a bad example, right? Or am I reading that wrong? Not sure.
Yeah, if it was drop down menu, you'd want it to work on all.
Mm,
Well, with any of these cases, you want it to work with keyboard, touchscreen, or mouse,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
and all your different devices.
Okay, bad web example. A mobile site that has 3 superscripts after a word, each linked to a footnote at the bottom of the page. Oh my gosh, I'm triggered right now, Dorlin. I'm crying. Oh my goodness, we literally had this
God,
problem.
how do they know?
It's like everything they're saying, we're just like, the chills, the nightmare. Sorry, y'all. Each superscript is tiny, and all of them are very close to each other, making it almost impossible to activate the correct link accurately. So, visually, everything's scrambled, right? It's a small footnote. There's better ways to do this, basically. For those curious, since we're here, one of the things that Dorlin and I have run into in the past, not lately, is footnotes in PDFs that, like, I don't even know how to explain it, and I'm not even gonna try, but they don't work correctly, and you have to do like extra commands to read the footnotes, and you have to just know what commands they are, and they're like, that's accessible, and I'm like, but like the person who uses a screen reader doesn't even know what the command is. What are you talking about?
Now I do.
Yeah. Bad
Learning.
design.
Right, exactly.
All right, let's move on to the third principle. The third principle of universal design is simple and intuitive use. All right, so we got 5 principles for this one. First, we want to eliminate unnecessary complexity. Second, we want to be consistent with user expectations and intuition. Third, we want to accommodate a wide range of literacy and language skills. Fourth, we want to arrange information consistent with its importance. And fifth, we want to provide effective prompting and feedback during and after the task completion. Okay. Feel like that's pretty straightforward.
Right, just makes life better for everyone on that one.
Yeah, all of them do, really. Let's talk about good examples and bad examples. Good example. Form validation. We love it. Form validation script that provides a clear, successful confirmation message when the form is submitted successfully, and a clear error message when there's a problem with the data. The focus moves to the error message. Oh, this is so specific, so great. Ensuring that keyboard and screen reader users get the full benefit of the message. We see this a lot at work. Mostly just being like things like date of birth wrong. And you're like, what? Date of birth wrong? You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? Or it pops up and then the focus doesn't go to like the prompt box, whatever they want to call it. So that they don't even know that there's something that popped up, or they can't get away from it. Another one is a website. So this is a good one. A website that uses native HTML widgets that are familiar to users versus like one that is completely, you've never seen it before. So you're going to spend like 1 minute trying to figure out like where to click. And then the last one is content is organized with headings that clearly mark the important sections of content, which I think many people just don't think about, but is really, really helpful for everyone. Any other good examples from the chat as well, please? Hulda Decode said another good example may be a graph using patterns and not just relying on color. So yes, yeah, we never want to rely specifically on color because we don't know who's colorblind. That's a really good one. So instead of color, we may put numbers, or pattern could be a good one because you can see a pattern a lot better than you can see a color. But
I really dislike when there are graphs with like color as their, like even as in they'll have like a legend on the side and be like, well, this color is this, and then this color is this. But it's like, I'll be honest, like the legend is not as helpful because I should be able to first like read it off the graph if it was just color indicative. But I really do like when they add like shapes to the middle of the line. So
Mm-hmm.
like not only are like um because I mean I'm colorblind myself, red green colorblind, but
Really?
it, yes, uh, I am the 1 in 12. But what's it called? Uh, yeah, it's like a lot of the times it's not really. It's there should be some other way of telling people or pointing people towards what you are referencing besides color. Really,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah.
Sometimes
Literally.
it's really helpful when those graphics are also represented in text. Because even if there's alt text on a graphic like that, or just a short caption underneath, I'm going to get the text better as an assistive technology user if it's just like there in the text. And that's true
Mm,
for folks with other disabilities as well, like cognitive things, or there's people who would just straight rather read things than have to go back and forth between the key and try and match and figure things out. It's just making sure everyone can access that info.
Yeah.
yeah.
There are also people with visual perceptual like impairments and things like that, where looking at things as a picture, it's completely scrambled in their mind by the time they see it and it processes. So pictures
Mm,
aren't always great. And I've noticed the websites that I enjoy using the most have the information in the text already and explain it, and the graph is just a supplemental. Because if you give me alt text on a graph, you're never really giving me what I need all the way.
mm,
It's always like something, it's either too much or too little, and more
yeah.
confusing. So just explain what's on the graph within whatever you're doing. That's also always helpful. Kathy Code said status, toast, and confirmations, e.g., do you want to delete this? Deleted X. So yeah, when you actually get confirmation before deleting something or getting rid of something, that's a really good one, I think. All right, let's talk about bad examples. A website that uses custom JavaScript widgets that are new in design and concept and unfamiliar to others. We talked about that. Those are hard. People love being cute and making new things, and I love that for them. However, there are some, basic design principles that we've all gotten pretty used to. And when you mess with those, it makes it really hard to use. The
Yeah.
last one is a form validation script highlights a field with an error but does not explain what the error is or how to fix it. Any other bad examples?
Mm.
Well,
Low contrast.
Yeah. And no way to increase it.
Yeah, no way to increase it. Maybe like locking the zoom features.
Holda said limited time to fill out a form.
Yeah.
Plants of Pajama said when the error field covers up the place where you're supposed to input the text. Oh my gosh. Yes, literally. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's actually happened to me a few times.
or you just don't even get an error message and you try and submit the form and it doesn't submit, and you then have to go comb through everything and try and figure out maybe what you did wrong.
Right.
Mm.
Complex layout navigation. Hold up. All right, yep, let's move on to our fourth one, which is perceptible information. This one has 4 principles. Perceptible information means we're going to use different modes: pictorial, verbal, tactile, for redundant presentation of essential information. This is actually what we just talked about. So even though it kind of goes with the last one, it even better goes over here. The second one is maximize legibility of essential information. The third is differentiate elements in ways that can be described. Make it easy to give instructions or directions. The last one is provide compatibility with a variety of techniques or devices used by people with sensory limitations. So, this is a lot of what we were just talking about. Good examples would be a tutorial on how to tie your shoes is presented in text, illustration, and video with narrated instructions. That might sound extra AF, but guess what? It helps everyone. Another one would be ARIA Live announcements are used to announce to screen reader users the number of available options in a custom ARIA JavaScript autocomplete drop-down list. For example, there are 3 cities that start with San. Use the arrow keys to navigate the options. Any other good examples of this? I think we covered it in the last one, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this actually, because I want us to get through all of it. A bad example would be a video tutorial on how to tie your shoe is shown with no narration, making the video useless for a person who's blind. I'm sure that happens so much. Definitely something people don't think about.
All the time. I can't tell you how many tutorial videos there are on YouTube that just play some cutesy music. And I like go to these videos because it comes up in like the Google search for what I'm trying to learn or whatever. And I start listening. And, like 1 or 2 minutes in, you realize, okay, there's going to be nothing here that I can perceive. So you can head off. But
yeah,
I don't know. Everyone needs to perceive it. I like this one.
Yeah.
It makes me think of the WCAG guidelines we're going to get into next time.
Yeah, the poor: perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. And perceivable is interesting because when people think about perceiving, they think about seeing, and really it encompasses so much more.
Right. I need to be able to take it in with at least one of my senses.
Right, exactly. Yep. Another bad example is a low contrast color scheme on a website makes it difficult for people with low vision to read text or distinguish buttons from the surrounding text. So that is also one we talked about. So because this is so like the same, I'm gonna actually go back to 3 and make sure that like we're understanding the difference. Does that make sense? Okay, so simple and intuitive use. I'm not sure if not having color for graph would be specifically here. So I'm going to actually erase this because it definitely goes in the 4th one.
Okay.
I think this is more about layout and like how easy it is to use once you get on the page. And that does make it easier to use, which is why we put it there. But now we can see how it would be better to categorize that in our mind under that area. Low contrast definitely makes things harder to use, but probably goes under perceivable. Limited time to fill out a form, simple to intuitive. Yeah, that probably goes somewhere else, but I like it here. I'll leave it.
Yeah, I think that's actually going to go under the 6th one too.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it is now, but
delete it. But some of these are going to be elsewhere. But we're on the right page.
I think there might just be some overlap too.
There's definitely overlap for sure. And when I say
simple and intuitive use would be like maybe like when you are hovering over a link and there's no indicator, like your mouse button changes to like a pointer.
Yeah, I could see that.
I also like the example of icons that I think they gave in this, like if you're using, customized widgets, we all, or most people are going to know like an eye next to something is going to signify information or extra information, but if you're going to use, or a question mark will do the same. But if you're going to use like, I don't know, an 8-pointed star or something, like that's not simple and intuitive. I think of just honestly not as much web, but when I think of like appliances, how simple is it to use? If it's something that's got clear-cut buttons on it and you can figure out on your own, that I feel like is universal design. If you have to whip out that user manual and get deep into it to be able to use that thing, then that's not simple.
Right.
Exactly. Okay.
Same with apps. If you can get into it and just start using it, or a website, you can just start using it. It's simple. If it's all complicated, gosh, I think of my dad trying to go on certain websites, and just, getting so overwhelmed, just as someone who's a little older using technology.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, we're gonna move on to principle 5. Jamil, do you mind reading this while I eat a piece of sushi?
Absolutely. Enjoy.
Thank you.
I was thinking about it when I'm going for dinner with my family afterwards, and I was like, oh, maybe we should go for sushi. We're going for Thai
Ooh,
instead.
it's a sign.
Ooh.
Right. So, principle 5 is tolerance for error. And the first point here, it says 5A is to arrange elements to minimize hazards and errors. Most use elements, most accessible, hazardous elements eliminate. Oh, sorry. Most use elements, most accessible. Hazardous elements eliminated, isolated, or shielded. Provide warnings for hazards and errors is the second point. Point C is to say provide safe, fail-safe features. And point D is to discourage unconscious action in tasks that require vigilance.
Well, that's
All right.
interesting.
This is all
Yeah.
error validation, pretty much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or in the physical world, like the caution wet sign that gets put out on wet floors. That's one of the
Yeah.
examples I came across.
Yeah.
But yeah, minimizing those hazards, like keeping protruding objects out of a hallway, or not having low overhanging things that us tall blind people can walk into.
Mm-hmm.
Lord. All right, let's talk
Yeah,
about
but,
some good examples and some bad examples on the web specifically.
Okay.
I think we hit some of these earlier with the error messages, making sure, or do you want to delete this, or is this the transaction you want to make?
Mm-hmm.
Redundancy in those messages, getting, so that you are not just like making that transaction right away. Maybe redundancy isn't the right word, but at least getting a
A
couple of
fail-safe.
messages. Thank you, Jamil. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So,
Yeah.
go ahead and read.
No, go ahead. By all means, be. Yeah, go ahead.
I want one more piece of sushi, please.
Okay. So, fantastic. Good examples for this are on a financial website, a script confirms, in quotes, are you sure you want to transfer your funds, end quotes, before funds are transferred, in case users had pressed the button by accident, or before they were sure they wanted to do it. And the second point here is a content management system that places deleted, so deleted is in quotes, deleted items in a recycle bin, and allows users to recover them later if they change their mind. So no perma deleting. So bad examples, a website responds to delete account, and delete account is in quotes, to a delete account request without confirming with the user, resulting in the irreversible loss of the account. And the second bad example is a search feature searches only for the literal string of text and doesn't take into account variations in word, order, spelling, etc.
Yep. I think these ones are pretty straightforward. Let's move on to the sixth one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, because
Jamil.
You're welcome. Dorlin is correct. We did touch on a bunch of these before.
Kathy Code said, I see the search problem a lot. Yeah. All right, principle 6, low physical effort. So we got 4 here. First one is allow users to maintain a neutral body position. Use reasonable operating forces. Minimize repetitive actions and minimize sustained physical effort. So this is good for everyone because none of us want to work very hard, but also there are many people who get fatigued easily, have low tone, may have loss of range of motion or strength. So a lot of people are injuries, chronic and both like chronic and acute. And you may think, how does this fall into web accessibility? And here's how. This is a good one. We come across this one a lot at work, me and Dorlin. A website has a skip to main content link at the top, allowing keyboard users to avoid tabbing through all the links in the header and navigation. This is a WCAG requirement, actually. The second one is a website has a good heading and landmark structure. Importantly, the content starts with the H1 heading inside a main landmark, among others, allowing screen reader users to navigate by headings and landmarks to the part of the page they're interested in. Any other good examples of this? This one's an interesting one in that this feels more physical than digital, but it absolutely applies.
Yeah, my first thought is definitely physical. I think of door handles, like the knobs being fairly inaccessible versus like the what do they call, like a bar handle where you press down to turn it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
But
one of those J handles, essentially.
Yeah.
maybe that's what it's called. Yeah. Um, but I think we also talked a little bit earlier about like target size, like of a tap. I
That's a
feel like
really
that
good
might
one.
fall under this one.
Yeah.
I also thought of places where they might ask you to, like Brandy brought this up when she was on with us with JAWS, the multi-key commands you have to put on in
Mm.
different things that, I mean, honestly, my hand gets cramped up by the end of the day, the amount of things I'm manipulating with it all day.
Right.
All right, chat. Someone's got an idea, and I know it. So please tell us what you think some good and bad examples of, like, just overall body positioning, operating, physical effort. This one's a hard one, so I really want to see what you all think. Let me go over the bad examples. A sign up process on a website requires typing a large amount of information, which can lead to fatigue in people with motor disabilities and for like people who have to be on the computer a lot. A website is designed with many links in the header and navigation section with no heading, no landmarks, or skip to main content link to allow users to jump to the main content. Hold it. This is for principle 6, low physical effort. And I had to scroll down a little because I wrote a lot for this one.
Mm-hmm.
So really this is all about things that require extra effort physically on the user. All right, we're going to move on to the 7th one. The Close Her said, I've got to go for now. I'll catch the rest of the stream through the recording later. Thanks so much, everyone. This has been great. We'll see you next time, Close Hearse. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're almost done anyways.
Bye.
All right, we're on to the last principle, y'all. Principle 7, size and space for approach and use. So 7A, we got 4 principles for this one. We want to provide a clear line of sight to important elements for any seated or standing users. We want to make reach to all components comfortable for any seated or standing user. Accommodate variation in hand grip and grip size. And last, we want to provide adequate space for the use of assistive devices or personal assistants. So this feels a lot like the last one, but it's a little bit more specific in that we're kind of just making things the size that it needs to be for different body types and different abilities. Hold a Decode said, good example, adjustable desk. Yes, that is a good example. A good example. So this one also.
Oh, I need one of those badly. An adjustable
man,
desk, a
changed my
sit-stand
life.
desk.
You can get one on Amazon for like $150.
In the United States.
Oh my gosh, Jamal!
Listen, I had this argument with my parents a lot. We can go into this when we're not talking about accessibility, but yes.
Jeez. I totally forgot. That sucks.
It's like $450 here for the one that comes out of IKEA. And I'm like, this is IKEA, right? We remember that this is IKEA.
Wow. Yeah. The only reason I have a standing desk is because it was $150. That's why.
Yeah.
Holiday Code said, do you have Facebook Marketplace? I buy some stuff through there. Legit. Yeah, Facebook Marketplace is actually pretty legit. I don't know what it's like in Canada, but
Yeah,
So,
it's something.
okay.
But so is Facebook in general, right? Like,
Right, right. So, size and space for approach and use actually does not apply really to web development, but it is the seventh principle that we have to know. So, a good
Mm,
example in the physical world are like controls at the front and clear controls on the front and clear floor space around appliances, mailboxes, dumpsters, and other elements. Wide gates at subway stations that accommodate all users. This is more applicable to like hardware. So anything in the physical environment, rather than like virtual environment or interfaces. All right, so let's take a moment to see where we're at and then make a plan for next week because I'm tired now and I feel like this is a really
mm,
good place to stop. So,
I agree.
let's see, what's next? So, next we're going to be talking about the relationship between accessibility, usability, and universal design now that we know all that. The benefits of accessibility. So, a lot of this stuff is like we're going to zoom through and then we're going to get to like the poor guidelines. Let me just keep scrolling and
Mm-hmm.
seeing. I think we could do all of this in next week. Yep, this is all this is pretty good. And then the week after that, we're gonna get to standards and laws because I want to do that by itself. Um, Actually, I'm gonna look at my calendar really fast and make sure we're not running out of weeks.
We would
No,
start
yeah, we're good.
signing up. Yeah. I think I'm not gonna try and take the test until December, I'll be honest with you. Because the
Okay.
window I think goes until like December 2nd, right? But you have to sign up by November.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I would sign up for November, and I think it was because of, oh my goodness, someone in the Discord recommended that you should do it later. That way you also wait less for your
Right.
results
Right.
and you can study some more.
Right. Yeah, I gotta see how I feel at the time, but I'm definitely gonna try to
Yeah.
take it at the latest. But we do have 2 more weeks in this month before that first week, and we can also take the
Mm,
first week of that month to do Anki and review everything together and do a
mm.
study group that way. So we're almost there, y'all. We just got 2 more, and then maybe a study crash course together, and then we'll start coding. Exciting. All right. Well,
That's
Yeah.
thank
everyone
you.
gets to see a braille calendar now.
Oh, hold on. Let me change my screen so they can see
Although
it.
actually, oh, true. Well, I think it's white though. White dots on white, so I don't know how everyone will be
No,
able to
we
see
can't
it.
even
But
see it. That's why you need those cards.
I know I need to get some color in my life.
Oh, is that a new
Colored
planner?
dots.
I just realized. It's a different
This?
one.
Oh no, this isn't my. This is a pocket braille calendar that's manufactured by the San Francisco Lighthouse for the Blind that I use to plan things with, or just get my
Wow.
Nice.
fingers on the day of the week. Because like it's just nice to be able to touch it instead of having it jabbering in my ear.
Yeah, yeah, I feel that.
Fair.
Alrighty, y'all. It has been a pleasure. We'll be here same time next week if I don't feel like I need to not do a stream, but I'm sure I'll rally up and want to because it's always a good time. I think
Mm,
all of us will be here again. Like I said, y'all, you ever want to join us on a stream and co-stream, anyone's welcome. You can come chill. You don't even have to talk. Whatever. All right. I'm gonna read a little bit of these comments so that Dorlin can see. Uh, Kathy Go said, thank you all. Pajamas and Plant said, thank you so much. Holda D said, appreciate this space so much. Thank you, Africa, Jamel, and Dorland. Oh, y'all, thank you. We will
thank you for
see
joining us.
y'all on the Discord. And also, everyone, please watch Crip Camp. I didn't watch it yet. I don't think we're going to have a live stream together because I just don't have. I don't know when I would do that. So like if you all want to do that on the Discord and talk about it, you can try to figure out a time or we can all just selectively watch it on our own by next week. And then we're going to talk about
I
Crip Camp next
honestly
week.
can't recommend that documentary enough. It's for free on YouTube from Netflix, and I was like, I have had all types of emotions watching it. It was such a well put together documentary.
I'm excited to
Yeah.
watch it, and it's
I've
free.
got
We put it
goosebumps
in.
just thinking of it.
Yeah, we put it in the Discord under resources. The free. There's both one that has audio captions and one that is just without the audio captions. So we really want y'all to watch it. I think it's important and will give you extra context as you learn more about this space, and especially for those of us who are trying to do this professionally, it's also like a really good documentary. So, see y'all next time. Thank y'all to my co-streamers for hanging out with me. This was fun. See you again
Thank you for
next
having me.
week.
Yeah,
Bye,
good being here.
Hulda. Bye,
Yeah.
Haxel.
Have a
Bye,
good one.
guys.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Have a good night.